There we go. There you go.
Okay. All right, welcome to the April 5th meeting of Caud. Sean, do you want to do the announcements as far as people calling in?
Yep. So if there's any members of the public who are in attendance at the meeting today and you'd like to speak about any of the application items, please call the planning department at 607-772-7028. Please know that all commenters will be allowed to speak in the order that calls are received and that calls can't be queued. So if you receive a busy signal, you should just wait a minute and then retry the call, and we'll make sure you're allowed to speak about the application.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking for a motion to approve March 1st minutes.
Motion to approve March 1st minutes is presented.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You?
Right.
Sean, are we going to go in order today? Is there any reason to change the order?
Nope, no reason to change the order.
Okay, 33 South Washington Street.
Okay, so we have an application for a certificate of appropriateness for 33 South Washington Street. Now, if the commission remembers, this has come up a few times. 33 South Washington Street is a single parcel that encapsulates originally two buildings and is now incorporates a series of buildings of new construction. But one of the buildings on the parcel has a street address of 41 South Washington Street, and that's the property we're going to be discussing today. The applicant in this case is Matzo Signs, and they're proposing the installation of a hanging sign right above the former commercial storefront of the building on the primary facade. It's non-illuminated. It will also be mounted to the building using existing openings in the brick masonry in an effort to minimize damage to the historic fabric of the building. Unfortunately, although shown here, this is the former storefront. The storefront was heavily altered in late 2021. And so it no longer bears any resemblance, and I'll go down to that in a second, but this is the sign proposal, the hanging sign proposal. Dimensions are included here too. Looking, as you can see, the storefront heavily modified, but the sign as proposed will be installed right above the new storefront space along the second story in between the window openings.
The storefront modification was done with our approval.
It was not.
Oh, okay. Was it required to be done with our approval?
It should have been, yes. It's I'm not quite sure what happened here, to be honest. I think there might have been, it's a little strange because this parcel is designated as a local landmark, and in the city of Binghamton, parcels are designated as local landmarks, not the buildings themselves. So what I think may have happened is that there may have been an understanding that the former fire station was the historic building, and that this building, although it's on the same parcel, is not historic. And so I think that that's why this was completed without Caud approval.
They get a building permit, Sean?
Yes.
Should have been.
And everything's signed off on, certificate of occupancy, they're all good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sean, just out of curiosity, I noticed also too, and then in your research, there was another section, another parapet on top of the building too. So that had been removed some time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago, but as you can see, they
Yeah.
got rid of this very elaborate parapet that was removed, and this is the current roof line here.
Yeah. It looked like it was all the way around too, right?
Yep.
Looks like sides and,
Looks like it goes all the way back.
yeah, interesting. Well, okay, does anybody have any questions regarding the sign? It appears to be tastefully done, and they're gonna use existing holes, I read, Sean, in the masonry, so we're not putting more holes in the masonry.
Yep, there was an existing sign bracket, and I don't know if you can see it in this image, because it might be blocked, but there is an existing bracket. Here we go. Right
Oh,
here.
that's good. Yeah,
So my recommendation would be, because the image shows it in a different location, to just utilize where the existing bracket is. If that's consistent with where the commercial entity is going to be located. I don't know the breakdown of the interior spaces.
okay, so when you talked
Someone
about,
here.
you talked about existing holes in the masonry, you're referring to that bracket there.
Correct, yeah, that is how I interpreted the applicant's proposal. But I think we have Joe from Monso Signs here, so he can speak to it as well.
Yes, there is 2 tenants going into the space. One on the left side and Bricks Barber will be on the right. There is existing holes over the right-hand side where we've shown it.
Here,
You can see there is some bracketing there. We will remove those pieces and be able to reuse those. We've already taken measurements and we'll be able to facilitate that. The applicant would like it over his half because the other side is looking to do a sign on their side to give some separation.
oh, that makes sense.
Okay. Comments on the signs, guys, on the sign?
I think it's a pleasant sign.
Yeah, it's fine by me.
Yeah, I agree. It looks nice. I just had a question. So would that existing bracket be removed in the future, or are you going to leave that up and put the new sign on? I don't know if there's a plan for that current bracket on there.
I believe that one is coming down. Unless you'd like us to leave it there to keep the holes filled in. I'm not sure what the board's interest would be.
Mainly to use the holes again when they hang up the other tenant's sign, I guess, if you think that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know what the other tenant's going to do. I don't know if we're going to do it. It's a completely separate person. The tenant in this space is not the building owner.
So you're not, Joe, you're not gonna take the bracket down yourself then? It's still gonna stay there until somebody else does something with it?
But we can certainly take it down if you'd like it removed off the building, or if you'd like us to leave it, we can.
What do you think, guys? Better to leave it there so it reminds the next?
Reminds them where to do it.
They might even
Yeah.
reuse the existing bracket for the new signage on that side.
Okay, let's leave it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Okay, we want to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the barber shop sign is presented for, what was the address again, Sean? I'm sorry.
It's 33 South Washington, and the street address of this building is 41 South Washington. You should probably specify that in the decision.
So the side we're dealing with is 41 South Washington Street.
Correct.
Okay, for signage for 41 South Washington Street. Using the pre-existing brackets in the or using the pre-existing holes in the masonry to establish the new sign for the barber shop, with further mention that further exterior modifications to the building do need to come before Caud.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, Sean. Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. There we go.
72
Yes.
Court Street.
Yep, so this is an application again for a certificate of appropriateness for the property address 72 Court Street. The applicant in this case is Vision 72 LLC, and the representative with us today is Mark Unati for that LLC. The commission should be pretty familiar with this site as well. You may recall a few years ago that this site came before the commission. And since that time, and since the commission's prior approval, the plans and development for the site have changed quite a bit. And so it's back before the commission for full approval once again. The application in this case is now for the construction of a 2-story mixed-use building, which will have commercial/retail space on the ground floor and proposed luxury apartments on the second floor. I submitted to the commission a full set of construction plans on Friday afternoon. And, although the commission isn't particularly concerned with the interior configuration of the space, I thought that the construction documents would be helpful for your review as it relates to the exterior. Jumping ahead to
Hey,
the.
Sean, can
Yep.
you said you'd submitted a full set of construction documents?
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what file name that is?
So that file set, and let me just double check here. Hold on. I'm gonna pause the. That was the Vision 72 2-story,
Final exterior?
not final exterior. Those are the renderings for the exterior. This is the 2-story 328/22 PDF.
Oh, I see it.
Yep.
But the final documents and the renderings, they're two different renderings?
Well, they are slightly different. And, I think the applicant can probably speak to that better, but there are a couple things as we go that I just wanted to point out about the application, Mick, before we quite get into that.
Understand.
Any way to share your screen so we can see what they're talking about?
Yeah. I'm going back to that now, Mark.
Okay. That's the railroad point.
There. So these are the renderings. And these are how I'm interpreting the final exterior will appear as proposed on 4/1/22. The things that I wanted to point out are, one, I'd like the applicant to sort of speak a little bit towards the final material selections that are proposed for the exterior. I don't have too many comments with regard to the exterior design. I think, with new construction in a historic district, there's an opportunity to do something that is, while compatible with the district as a whole, a little bit different and separate and distinct. And so I don't have an extensive series of comments about the exterior design. What I do and would like to know more about is the final material selections presented here. And then also what's not shown in this rendering is the elevator bulkhead that when SHPO reviewed the project, they had questions about the exterior finish and they conditioned their approval on that. And that is not shown here. And I'm just wondering if, since this went through SHPO review, has the elevator been eliminated from the project? Because that's how I interpreted this. But those are all of my comments.
Okay. So for starters, John, I'll kind of work in reverse. That I believe that the elevator that's proposed doesn't require anything on the roof. So it'll be subject to just a pit. So it will not, there'll be nothing above the roof line. And if I'm correct, I think, were you on the email where Brian referenced that?
I do not believe I was.
Okay, I'll have to forward you that email once I find it, but I know he responded. Actually, maybe he responded to me with after I forwarded him the letter. So I'll get that to you so you know.
Okay.
With respect to the storefront, what you see on the lower level is basically, we're looking for a bluestone. Not really a veneer, but I guess a veneer won't be very thick, but it'll be of a bluestone material on the ground level, probably from this region. Speaking with a guy from a stone quarry down in Montrose, and that's really the what you see on the gray shaded areas. So it doesn't really depict a perfect illustration of what we're looking to do. With respect to the wood plank look, we're looking at options with a couple different companies that have somewhat of a wood plank look to soften or warm, add a little warmth to it on the remainder. These will be some sort of aluminum type of panel that resembles a wood plank. And I think the sections are roughly, I want to say 8 feet long, but depending on the company, we'll kind of determine that. Where you see the blue shaded area, we just pop that in there. Right now, we're hoping that Visions is going to be our anchor tenant, and I want to share this with them as well. So we try to get about as close of blue as to the Vision sign that we put on, and we're hoping that I'm in negotiations with them right now to take the entire ground floor. So there will therefore only be one sign. And that entrance may change. We may do a single entrance with a vestibule, but it doesn't really change a lot. If there's a way, is there a way to rotate the picture, Sean, to the next elevation? Yeah, so
Go in
again,
any order.
yeah, that's fine. Where you see that triangular part up on the top, that's really, you can almost ignore that. That's going to be a V, like a varsity letter type of signage for the corner of the building. And that's shown in the illustration. If you were to drive by the lot where the rendering is, it shows basically a varsity letter type V for Visions. So that really doesn't illustrate very well what we were trying to accomplish. But and then again, on the same side, on the State Street side, where the blue is simply an area for the Visions sign. To the right, all the way down, where the main entranceway will be for the apartments. We have to go back one to the State Street side. There'll be a black canopy, very similar to the one they just did at 20 Holly Street above the beer tree. We're thinking something in that line. And I believe we are proposing the same on the Court Street side above the entranceway to the building.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, this is Mick Lombardini. How are you doing, Mark?
Good.
I was wondering if you can just maybe explain how you came to this design based on the other rendering package that was submitted on 3/28, it seems. And maybe Sean, you can pull up that other rendering,
Yes, I
I guess
can.
the
Yep.
original.
Yep. Thought I had it. up. Just hold on one moment.
So Mick, are you talking about the redesign of the current two-story project? Like
Yeah.
the one that's really reflected in the banner?
Yeah, I guess so. Sean will pull it up here.
Yeah, it's a large file, so it takes a minute to load. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you know, so this design and how you came to, I guess, the revised design, maybe sort of explain that process.
I mean, I think that simply that's still in that design is the bluestone storefront. The canopy is simply black in the new rendering. I wish I could see side by side on my iPad. I'm not in town, so I'm not in my office. But other than that, all we did was we added some wood that probably gives it a completely different look. That top area is basically wood. I don't think that much has changed with the design, except maybe the exterior finishes.
Yeah, it just looks like in the revised rendering, the building got a little bit taller, right? The material changed, kind of a different contemporary look. It's just a different design from what was originally submitted to the revised version. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I guess my
Yeah,
point is,
I think that, like I said, the design didn't really change. I think that the colors had changed, or they look a little bit different. But I don't think, as far as the height of the building has not changed. It's the same size building. Nothing's changed footprint or height or anything like that. I think a lot of the color selection, it makes it look either smaller or bigger.
okay, so Sean, you can pull up the one side by side, right? I mean, am I looking at this differently? But it doesn't look like it's the same.
Did the window size change?
Well, the roof line changed, the windows have changed. It's just it's a different design. So
Sorry, it's kind of
I
hard to
was
put this
just
side by
pointing
side.
that out. So does anybody else not see the same thing I'm looking at?
I see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know.
But I like where the vision signs are on the first one.
Yeah, I like the design of that first one. It's really nice and contemporary, kind of complements, I think what Ellis Brothers sort of did down the street, nice little contemporary design. I'm just seeing two different designs. And so just wanted some clarification. That was all.
Sean, which one did SHPO review?
That is actually a very good question. As you'll see in the letter that I included, their drawings were from January. So I am not sure which drawing SHPO reviewed, but I assume it's the closer to the 3/28/22 drawings. Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, look, if you want us to stay away from the wood plank look, I don't think I have a problem with that. I think we were trying to do that to add a little warmth, being that there's residential upstairs, and to try to distinguish residential from, the commercial space. But it's really, I can certainly talk to Brian about it. We're working with the same, unless some of the shadowing from the sockets that are recessed back where the residential units are and the terraces has created maybe a darker look. I feel that we're still dealing with the same the same building.
Yeah, so Sean, is there any way you can pull up those things side by side?
Yeah, as that's what
Show
I'm
Mark.
literally, I'm trying to do that right now, but Zoom does not like, in trying to make things simple, it seems like Zoom has made that a little bit more complicated. So hold on one second if I can do that, because I'm going to try. Share, okay, portion of screen.
So Mark, this is Ken. So what is your timeframe in moving forward and getting Caud's approval on this? Is it what's the schedule for you?
I mean, we have a deadline of April 12th as far as all of our pricing to come in. And then I think we're looking to kind of push forward a little bit on this. Obviously, we're not through our negotiations with Visions, and being that there will be an anchor tenant, we certainly want to basically have their buy-in and approval on the design. A little bit mimics what they did in Vestal with their latest location, but I would say it's fairly soon. I think it's really important that we have this building erected, by mid to late summer.
Okay.
On the steel component, the finishes actually will take longer, but what I guess my question is, what is the purpose of your question? Is it for the purpose
I
of
always
tabling
try to
something?
no, I always try to take a look at the schedule of the applicant to make sure that if this doesn't go through or we ask for additional material, what does that do to you, and how can we best get this accomplished for you once everybody gets satisfied with what we're doing?
Well, I would answer this probably sounds pretty harsh. I mean, we have a vision for this corner. If it's subject to the city of decision of Binghamton, they don't like it, then I just pick up my toys and I go home, and there isn't a project to be had. I'm just not going to get into this anymore with everyone's approval of $3.5 million investment. I think it's great for the city. The anchor tenant is great for the city. I think the city or your organization or board should be committed to look at other areas where people haven't really taken care of or really maintained the exterior of the buildings or done things with taste in our downtown district. No matter how you slice it, with any of these designs, I think they're all great designs. It's a forward-thinking design. It's a nice addition or complement to the intersection. So, I always try to remain open-minded, but at this point, I think we're where we want to be with this.
Mhm. Okay, well, this is the first time we're seeing this design since the last one we were in, so we'll just keep working through this. But Mick, if you want to, it's clear now what the differences are, and maybe Mark, maybe you intended this to be the same, but the windows are different, the roof line's different.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at that now, and yes, I do see that. And I'll have to ask Brian. The windows, now that I'm looking at it side by side, I don't know why he made some changes in the windows, because that second floor should be the glass in the second floor should be consistent with what it was in your first design. And I do notice that. So my apologies. And I prefer to have it the glass as it was in the first illustration from the first of the two drawings.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, I'm outside my element, but Mick and Dan, for sure. I mean, I think you're leaning towards the first design, because it looks, the massing from, if I use one of your terms, seems to be much more appropriate than the block that's on the left.
No, yeah, so I guess my point was it's kind of two different designs. The first one that was submitted, I mean, I really like it. I think it fits well within that corner. I think it'll be kind of a staple piece for decades. I like the overhang on the top with kind of that glass that sort of wraps around in the terrace. I mean, it looks good. It fits.
Right.
And I think it'll be
I
great.
agree.
A great building for downtown Binghamton. I really do think that that's an appropriate design. My question was, is that is different from the other one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that, I mean, I thought that's where you were going. And Dan, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, no, I think that the first one there communicates better with the building across the street as well. And if that's what they already have SHPO approval for.
Well, now, I was trying to tie that in, so I didn't want Mark to get into a situation where he had to go back to SHPO if he changed his design, because, you know, we've all had that experience and it's not pleasant. So I'm trying to move him, you know, in the right direction here. So
Does
Mark,
SHPO
if
does
you're
SHPO
okay with
actually
this one-
offer, excuse me one second, I'm sorry to interrupt. Does SHPO actually offer an opinion on the exterior of it, or was it just more on the ground disturbance?
Depending on what you submitted, Mark, they would have reviewed everything. And that they,
I think it would be on exterior because they're asking for that bulkhead.
yeah, that's why they asked specifically about the exterior finish for the elevator bulkhead.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not in town right now. If I was in my office, I'd be able to see what I sent up there. Let me ask you, are you guys opposed to any type of wood plank to add a little warmth in any of the section to this?
I'm not opposed, but I'd have to see the design.
Right. That,
And with
yeah, I like the first one because it, like, I think it was Dan said, it complements the building across the street. Because there's a 2-story over there, and yeah, or a little taller building, but
Yep.
I like this one. I like the first one a lot with the greenery, where the vision signs are. It just looks really modern in a nice city that's trying to keep its historic value, but move along.
Hey, Mark, I can maybe give you some insight. I don't think that we're opposed to kind of some sort of wood accent pieces on the building. I think, you know, designed correctly, it still will look appropriate. It still have that kind of modern touch and flair that you're going for. And I still think it'd be a staple for that corner. So the answer to the question is no, I don't think that we're opposed to it.
I need to speak with Brian and find out. I worked with him on Friday before I left town. And I think we were kind of under the gun, Sean, trying to get you something. And I think he had some issues with his computer late in the afternoon. But I'll circle back, and I certainly more than willing to send you kind of like a cleaned up version of that, both ways with this, and maybe just him straightening the windows out and you know, maybe adding some wood just to see what it looks like. But I'm not opposed. I mean, I like this. We really kind of added wood to. I have to be honest with you. I thought for sure that you guys would push back on this first design. I thought you were going to say it was going to look very contemporary based on our pre-planning or pre-construction meeting a few weeks ago. And I know that Sean was concerned about a very contemporary building in a historical district. So he tried to add a little warmth to it. Maybe that wasn't the way to do it, but why don't you let me circle back with Brian? But I asked for today is that if we can move forward with some sort of approval based on the original proposed, at least we know that we don't have to come back. And if we want to circulate another, you know, rendering with a little bit of wood or things like that of that nature, that we just don't have to wait another month for a meeting. Maybe you guys can just communicate via email and get an approval. But based on this one, if this is what you're looking at, then maybe we can just, you know, decide that today we get approval for this. And if anything changes, it's got to be sent to you.
Is
Mark, sorry, Ken, I just want
go
to clarify a couple things here. So when we met for pre-development, my general comments were actually it's fine to have a contemporary building in a historic district, but from the original renderings that were provided for that pre-development meeting, it was difficult to see the siding choices, right? The siding material choices. So Mark, when you clarified to me that you were intending to use stone along the, the commercial front of the building, I think that's fine. You can go in a more contemporary route and the guidelines permit that. There's no question about that. The decision to warm the building with a synthetic wood-like or wood-appearing material, whether that be aluminum with some sort of vinyl applied to it to make it look like wood, is certainly a design choice. I don't know how the commission would interpret that, but a contemporary building on this site is fine. It's just, like I said from the beginning, the commission really needs the final material choices so that they can issue an informed decision, right? So whatever the final materials are, that's what needs to be presented to the commission so that they can make their decision based on that.
So are you basically telling me that we're not going for an approval today?
I think you'd get it on the first design, Mark.
I'm sorry?
I said, I think you would probably get it on the first design. The contemporary building, there's great symmetry of line, almost a subtle Art Deco influence. Very appropriate, I think, in downtown at this time. The second design, I think you'd have to work on a little bit and you might lose some time in that process.
Correct, but that's exactly what I'm saying, John, is that if we're in agreement, can we get approval for the initial design? And if things should change, I have no problem providing the city with, the proposed
I'm very
materials.
comfortable in the affirmative on the first design as presented myself. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I would certainly vote in favor of it as presented.
I'm
John,
with you on that, John.
John, I would be in favor of that first design as well too.
Okay, Mary Ellen?
Same here.
Yep, I like the
Okay.
first one. I'd push that one forward.
Dan?
Yep, yeah,
Mike?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be adverse though to seeing some wood accent or design on that first design.
I'd
Yep.
certainly look at changes, but the first one I really like, and I think we could get them going. Ken, any pros, cons from your point?
No, I'm just trying to, so if we go ahead with this, which I'm behind this concept, and then if Mark wants to clarify, revise, then he's going to turn in some additional sketches to Sean, which are going to get circulated around for our approval. Is that what's going to happen, Sean, or?
Well,
Or if it's significant enough, which it doesn't sound like it's going to be, Mark would come back for a special meeting or whatever. I just want to look ahead as to, trying to get this thing closed up.
yeah, I think that all makes sense. The thing is that with the design, if you're proceeding with with this interpretation of the design, I think the final materials still need to be presented, and whatever decision is made should be based on the final materials.
So Mark,
Understood,
you have-
but Sean,
That's my staff recommendation.
Yep, Sean, I just want you to understand one thing with respect to material. The bluestone's the bluestone, but with respect to the proposed panels that we're looking for on the second floor, there's a lot of it comes down to what's available and not. Obviously, there's tremendous lead times on some of this stuff, so I don't know how that's we may have to make some different. I could present you a sample of something that we want to use, and it may be a 10-month lead time, which probably won't get used at that point. So I'm not sure what your guidelines are with respect to that.
So you would, obviously there are times when a design is presented with final materials, and then for whatever reason, that material needs to change, and then the applicant just reappears before the commission with that final material change. That's not unprecedented.
And it doesn't hold up the process. I mean, Mark's gonna continue on with his construction and hopefully, secure his tenants and
Exactly.
so that, Mark, that's not going to stop you in the process. It's just going to set the record straight as to what your final materials are, which is understandable in today's climate.
Okay. Another quick question for all of you is, and this is probably jumping the gun, is there any issue in your eyes with the Visions signage, proposed signage, the way it is depicted in this picture?
I'm very content with it as
Oh, I
presented.
like it.
Yep.
I like it.
Is it internally illuminated? Is it backlit? There needs to be some specification as to what the signage is going.
I'm sure it's going to be a backlit.
Okay, backlit, the commission has generally been in favor of with previous applications, similar to some of the buildings across the street. So I don't think the commission would have an issue with that, but the commission would need, again, dimensions.
Yeah, that's a sign. That's
Actually,
come back for the sign, right? I mean, that's typical happens. Internally lit, Mark, is against our guidelines, and it's tough to get something like that in the historic district. But backlit,
Internally lit, meaning lights inside the channel letters?
yeah, inside the box, right?
Yeah, no, I understand.
So, but that can come back, and again, that's not going to slow the process up. Visions can bring it back, or whoever's going to do their sign can bring it back. Like Joe was just on the previous application.
Yeah.
So again, the motion, I guess we can entertain a motion, and I'm trying to be procedurally correct here as well. If all of us are behind this rendering, knowing full well Mark's headed towards bluestone and maybe some wood accent or whatever, that he would bring that back at a later date, I think we can move forward, right? Anybody have any objections?
No,
No, I'm fine.
Sean, we okay procedurally?
Yeah, I think that's fine procedurally. The only other thing I would mention about it, and just so that you're not putting Mark in a position where he has to return to SHPO, you might want to condition your approval based on SHPO's condition. And it may not be an issue. It may not be an issue if that elevator bulkhead is removed, right? But just be careful and make sure you're consistent with SHPO's conditions as well.
Yeah, we have to tie SHPO's approval in. That's correct. Thank you. Somebody want to structure that motion?
Nick, I'm looking at you.
yeah, Nick.
We need confirmation to Mark that what was submitted to SHPO is consistent with what is being shown here. That's the other thing.
I mean, Sean, what you received Friday was basically done within 2 days. So I'm assuming I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm 99.5% sure that this, what we're looking at right now, would have been submitted to SHPO, because that other rendering wasn't done until this past few days before the Caud meeting. But I can confirm that when I get home on Monday. I might even see if I have a copy of that on my iPad that's with me right now.
Just again, for the record, Mark, I received both the 32822 drawing in front of you and the rendering I showed earlier of 4122 on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Both of them are received at the same time. And I supplied both of them to the commission.
Hey, Sean, this is Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Economic Development. I'm looking at the SHPO submission right now, and what was submitted for 12822 is what we're referring to as the first rendering, the one with the bluestone that shows the varsity V on the lower part.
So
Yes,
the
that one.
120, the 128 matches the 328.
Correct.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Well, I'll take a stab at it if nobody else wants to. Oh,
It's
don't
all
all
yours.
speak up at once.
Oh, go ahead,
Okay.
John.
Okay. Motion to approve the plans for the building. What's the address, Sean? I'm so sorry. 72?
72 Court Street. Yep.
72 Court Street is presented in the 32822 rendering, with the understanding that the majority of the facade is to be in natural bluestone from a regional quarry, and the glass and such, which is aluminum clad, I believe it is in this case, with the signage at the southwest corner and the northwest corner of the building, incorporating a giant V for visions on the corner facade, with also the understanding that it conforms to the SHPO guidelines for the building on this footprint. And anything else?
The signage would have to come back with like actual dimensions, right? Because you don't have the actual dimensions, but you can approve the concept. You know, you can say that conceptually, the commission would like to see something like this, right? That's
Okay. So as an addendum to the original motion, we are approving conceptually the signage for visions at this time, waiting for a final rendering with dimensions.
I'm sorry, John, did you mention about if there's a change in materials, they would come back to Caud for a final review?
I did not, but I can. I kind of think that's what happens anyway. Sean, either way,
Okay, all right, fine.
I'm asking. I'll include it with an option that changes to the facade be represented before the Caud Commission of the City of Binghamton.
Okay. Second, please.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Mark,
So,
thank you very much.
yeah, Mark.
Thank you. I just have one more quick question for you while it's on my mind. The storefront, and again, I have to, what are the boundaries or your grounds as far as color selection on the framing for the glass? Like the aluminum storefront framing, if it was to be black or just regular aluminum, I mean,
I think the black looks nice, but
Black is good, or bronze. We've approved many bronze finished.
yeah, I was pushing for black, just so you know.
I think
and
we'd
that's
be inclined
okay.
for it. Love to see that
Okay.
second floor glass in the green tint going around. I think it'd be stunning.
Green tint.
Yeah, that's just my little verdigris. Excuse me, verdigris.
Okay.
I mean, the black looks very similar to what's across the street.
Yeah,
Hey, so Mark, this is Mick. I can make a suggestion. I think black storefront on the top portion where the residents are, I think that would look sharp. And I also do think like a clear anodized on the lower portion where the visions are will look sharp too, but that would just be a suggestion.
Okay.
Kind of a two-tone, right? Kind of two separate things. And I think it would kind of keep in line with that sort of contemporary line. And plus the storefront glass on the second level, it's kind of pushed back over underneath the overhang. So kind of creates that shadow effect anyways. But just a suggestion.
Nice looking
Fair
building.
enough. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mark, when you get to the point of filing for building permits.
Yeah.
Loop me in to that and forward me whatever you're submitting for the building permit. And then, you know, whatever needs to be remedied at that point in time can be remedied.
No problem.
So that way you can proceed and we'll work out, you know, you'll have your final materials as, you know, to the best of your knowledge at that point in time. So it can be finalized.
Okay,
Thanks, Mark.
thank you all. Have a great day. Appreciate it.
You
You
too,
also.
Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean, I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but I have to sign off. I have an appointment that I have to go to at 1. So is that okay? I'm assuming you still have enough for quorum on the other items.
Yeah,
Dan
have
has to
to
recuse
recuse
himself.
myself.
Yep, but I think we will still have,
we still have
we'll
4.
still have quorum. Yep.
Okay. Apologize for the, I would have said it in the beginning, but we kind of got started pretty quickly, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay,
But I appreciate
Always a
it,
pleasure
guys.
talking to you.
Thank you very much. And you guys have a good day, and hopefully soon we'll be together in a room where we can actually see faces.
Can't
Yeah.
wait. God.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
So Sean, I need a quick 2-minute bathroom break and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Do I have to formally recuse myself?
Yeah. Dan, you're gonna have to recuse yourself formally on the record.
Should I do that now?
Yes, you can do that now. Yep.
I work with CPL, so I'm recusing myself.
it's just trying to make light of John's situation. I don't know if that's the official Robert's rules of leading the meeting.
Yeah.
We officially don't have a quorum. So
Oh, that's.
Dan's abstention can't be recognized because we're not in
Right.
meeting right now.
And when he comes back, we'll do it.
I'm kind of making light of it, but it's kind of funny.
It is. Hey, it's tough when you're getting old, but don't tell him I said that.
No.
Okay, sorry about that, fellas. Thank you.
All right, meeting reconvened. Dan?
Yep, I work for CPL, so I'll be recusing myself from this portion of the meeting.
Thank you. All right, Sean?
Okay, so this is a project for a series of riverfront projects along both Sandy Beach and the Chenango River Promenade. And I am actually going to introduce Tito, who is on the Zoom call, and he has been leading the city's efforts with regard to this project. So I'll turn it over to Tito to sort of speak about the specifics.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Okay. Yep. So the city got a grant to improve or create amenities along our riverfronts. And so we have projects at 4 locations that do that. It was a much bigger scope initially, but it got watered down due to environmental issues and things like that. So what we have left is at Sandy Beach Park, we're proposing constructing a concrete overlook. If you're familiar with Sandy Beach, it's just to the left of where the ramp goes down to the boat launch. So there would be an overlook there with 2 pergolas. We would be reconstructing the boat launch. There's an existing boat launch there, but it's not usable. And then we'd be constructing a nature trail through the wooded area in the park. And then the other part of that is we'd be purchasing boats and kayaks and things to rent at that location. Over behind 2 Caud Street, we're proposing the construction of a fountain where there actually used to be one in that circular area when you step down off of Caud Street. And so that would be a fountain with jets basically at grade. So it wouldn't have a permanent pool. It would be jets at grade. And then a stone wall surrounding the fountain area. Then over on Peacemaker Stage, we would be putting programmable LED lighting on the ceiling, sort of underneath the canopy of the existing stage. There's an existing electrical box there that we would be using. And then further north of the stage, we'd be installing string lights across the promenade. And then lastly, at Rock Bottom Dam, we would be installing floating warning signage across the river. It'd be lit at night, solar powered. And we thought that would be prudent because if we have more people getting in the water up at Sandy Beach, we wanted to make sure that there was an adequate warning before you get to Rock Bottom Dam. And so that's the full scope of what we have now. We're looking for approval of our proposal and for a negative declaration under seeker.
I'm trying to remember, why did we take that fountain out to begin with?
That I don't know. The last picture I've seen or evidence I've seen of that fountain was dated in the mid-70s. Sean can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how long after that it was removed, but I think it was just deferred maintenance. And then the cost to sort of refurbish it was too high at the time.
Okay.
And it was removed.
I was just wondering because I remember it being there.
Yeah.
So Sean, procedurally for the seeker process, which I'm assuming we have to do prior to making a motion, can we do one seeker process, one short form for all projects that have been identified?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should. So the project should be sort of considered one project and reviewed as such.
Okay. All right, so I guess my first motion is to declare Caud as lead agency. Is that correct? We are going to be lead agency in this case?
Yes.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And motion to declare this as unlisted action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And can I rely on you, Mary Ellen, to do your thing?
Sure.
I
I'm
know you
always
will.
ready.
Okay,
And I can
thank
even
you.
read
You
it.
see
It's big enough.
You gotta make it bigger.
No, it's big enough today.
Okay.
Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure or mass transit, biking, or walkway? I'm assuming that's a no, right? Even with the thing going in over by the park? So
Nature
we'll say
trail.
no.
Yeah, and you can have a small impact if you want. It's a positive impact.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies, public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard or environmental resources or human health? No. You have to move. Yep, there you go. Oh, that was the last one.
Yep.
I move to declare a negative declaration.
Second.
We have to do a roll call, so.
Oh, sorry.
John- No, that's okay. John,
Agree.
Let's see, we got Mike.
Agree.
Mary Ellen made the motion. I agree. Motion passed. Okay, so now we need a motion to, for certificate of appropriateness for all projects mentioned.
I have a question before we get to that. And it's really concerning the idea of leasing the kayaks and canoes and whatnot. Wouldn't we be better maybe farming that out to an independent just because of the ramification of liability if something happens?
Well, that'll be administered by the Parks Department, so it's up to them, you know, how they handle that, whether it be their summer staff or whether they use a third party.
Okay, we're certainly got insurance in place if somebody drowns or something.
Sure.
Okay, then I'm supportive.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
Be happy to, but I forgot what the actual wordage is going to be, please.
Well, we're making a motion on certificate of appropriateness.
I'd make a motion for a certificate of appropriateness for the Sandy Beach and Court Street, Shenango River fountain as proposed.
Right. You can just tie in all the projects as presented in the application.
Make a motion to approve all the projects as presented in the application. Motion of
Second.
appropriateness.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you. Motion passed. Thank you, Tito.
Thank you. Thank you all. You have a good day.
Sean, do we have any other business?
The only other business item is to, just a reminder, and I'm gonna send out an email or a reminder on Basecamp for this as well, just to submit a resume or some sort of professional qualifications for serving on the commission. Just because we have to submit that to SHPO as part
I
of.
forgot. I'm
I
sorry.
forgot.
That's okay. That's all right. That's fine. We still have some time.
I
So
didn't say that I knew. And I
You're
do have,
way too easy on us, Sean. You should have jumped right on us.
yeah, it's all right. Well, we'll
and
get.
I do have a question going ahead whenever. So we're getting all new utility poles here over on Asbury and Chestnut and Leroy.
All over the west side.
Yeah, and they're like 10 feet taller and they're moving the street lights and stuff. Should any of that have come before us or they just have carte blanche to do what they want with no review? I don't find it too different than the phone companies putting antennas up because they're changing things. I'm not opposed. I'm really happy for it, but just want to make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. I got one of those new poles in front of my drive or right next to my driveway. And I got it middle of last summer. Do you know they haven't taken the other pole down yet?
My other pole's in my driveway. It's in the middle.
Yeah, so one of mine is too. It's like right at the edge of my driveway. And that has to be removed by Verizon, I guess.
Yeah, whatever phone company runs it. And then
Yeah.
they changed the height of the street light.
Yes.
Where I used to be able to sleep in the bedroom. It's now like a supernova. I've got lined drapes and it's still pouring in the winter.
Yeah, no, it's but they've got to get the other pole down. We have two poles sitting all over this town.
Yeah.
And like I said, one of them's in my driveway and I could make use of it and hit it, but
Mine's been hit 3 times and not by me.
yeah,
And we have to drive around it to get into the driveway.
yeah.
But does any of this come under our review or our purveyance, Sean?
It depends, actually, but I'm not familiar with this, so I'd have to reach out to engineering or DPW to get more specifics on it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. But they said, what I got told by the guys putting up the first set of poles or the new set was, oh yeah, the other one has to come down by Verizon.
Yeah, the
I
phone
said,
company.
oh, really? And I says, well, when will they do that? And he goes, oh, they're about 2 years behind.
The other thing that I was noticing. Go
I
ahead.
was not happy with that.
Who was the entity putting up the new one?
NICEAG,
Oh, okay.
because there's no room, because our poles, the pole at my yard is like 100 years old. And they said it can't hold the weight of the new technology and stuff.
My other question with regard to the new power lines are running from these extended height poles, where the previous power lines always had a dip in the center so that water would run off and drip and drop. Now they're going at such an angle to the houses, the water's continuing up against the buildings and will be gathering on the facade of the different houses, probably forming ice and such. And just a little
Great.
concerned about that.
I'm back. Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Well, welcome back. We missed you. So those are my couple observations, questions, concerns.
Yeah, I have them too of that. And oh, by the way, they're redoing the tennis courts.
I saw that. What the heck's going on there? I thought they were pretty.
The guy that put them in did something wrong and he has to replace them because there was water sitting in them all the time.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So it's not a cost to us, but it's,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Anything else, Sean?
The security, there's like a hole in the security mutual building, like parapet. I don't know, did anyone see that?
The very top facade of the building, like the crown up there, looks like a sliding aluminum door that I don't remember ever before. Nor do I remember that coming before us.
On the primary facade?
Correct.
Yeah, yep, up on the top, like the parapet that surrounds it, they opened it up. And I used Google Earth just to kind of get a street view, and it wasn't there before. So that was like something recent that I noticed.
Yeah, it looks like a double hung window on its side, just faced in aluminum, like a door access or something. Looks terrible.
I have not seen that, but I will take a look and inquire further because they're usually pretty consistent with coming before the commission.
Right. At least they have been, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, anything else, members?
Don't forget to attend the Binghamton Shriners Antique Show at SUNY Broome on Front Street, April 23rd and 24th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good cause. Help us help the children. This will be
That's
the 38th year for the Binghamton Antique Show. Very cool thing.
Okay, we'll have to do that.
Oh,
And the city,
I have.
the city's going to have a display there with one of the carousel horses about the restoration of Ross Park. It's going to be pretty neat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Now, will they have to come? They have to come to us too, right?
The carousel?
Or for the, yeah.
I would presume they do. They just had the RFQ or RFP went out and they awarded it to the company. So I would imagine that they're going to have to come before us because they're going to disassemble the pre-existing carousel at Ross Park, restore horses, mechanism, facade, and relocate it up on the hill. I think approximately where the old train used to be to get out of the floodplain.
Right. I mean, that is historic, so it's protected.
Yeah. So it will, at once the plan is completed, that will be presented to the commission for approval.
Okay.
Great. Anything else?
anything else?
Motion to adjourn if there isn't.
That's it. We'll second.
God bless
All
you.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
All right, thank you.